I was stuck in the beginner phase for 3 years. 3 full years of losing money, blowing small accounts, starting over, and telling myself next time would be different. I read the books, I watched the videos, I tried every strategy that promised to be the answer. And I stayed exactly where I started. Broke, frustrated, stuck. Then one day I realized something that changed everything. I wasn't stuck because I didn't know enough. I was stuck because I kept doing the one thing that guarantees you'll never escape. And once I stopped, everything shifted. Within 6 months, I went from break-even chaos to actual consistency. Not because I found some secret setup, but because I finally understood what separates beginners from traders who actually make it. And it has nothing to do with what most people think. The answer is simpler than we imagine, but that's exactly why we can't see it. Most traders never escape the beginner phase. This is a process everyone goes through without exception. Not because they're not smart, not because they don't work hard, not because the market is against them. They stay stuck because they're trapped in a pattern they can't see. And that pattern has a name: permanent exploration mode. You've been trading for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe two. You understand the basics. You know support and resistance. You can read a candlestick chart. You're not a complete rookie anymore and you feel like you're making progress, but you're still not making money. Or you're break even. Or you have one good month and then 3 bad months. You're stuck and you don't know why. Here's why. Every time you hit a losing streak, you think the problem is your strategy. So you switch. You find a new approach. You learn it. You test it for 20 trades, maybe 30. It works for a few, then it stops working. So you switch again, then again, then again. You've tried 10 different strategies in the last year, maybe more, and you're still exactly where you started. This is the trap that keeps 90% of traders stuck forever. You think you're searching for the right strategy. You're not. You're hitting the reset button over and over, and every time you hit reset, you go back to zero. You sabotage your development, and you're forced to go through the same processes again. All you actually need to do is stay committed to a single strategy instead of resetting this process. But you can't, because you're not convinced that your strategy is the best among your options. You think you can find something better. And you're probably right. A better strategy might exist. But here's what you're missing. It doesn't matter, because if your strategy is profitable, you'll make money when you execute it. But you're wasting time searching for a more profitable one, because there's always a strategy that works better than any given strategy. What matters is your ability to execute it with discipline, and that's related to how long you stay committed to one strategy. So even if your strategy isn't perfect, staying committed to it is the path that will get you to profitability in the shortest time. It doesn't need to be perfect or the most profitable. It just needs to be profitable. Over time, you can master it and make it better, make it as profitable as other strategies. But you can't, because instead of staying committed to it, you're searching for the perfect strategy. And there's no such thing. There's a strategy that fits you. Find it and stay committed. Let me show you what's actually happening. You start with strategy A. You take 20 trades, you win 7, you lose 13. You're down money. You think strategy A doesn't work, so you abandon it and move to strategy B. You take 20 trades, you win 8, you lose 12. Still down? Strategy B doesn't work either. Now you're trying strategy C. Same thing happens. You think you're testing to find what works. But here's the truth you're not seeing. 20 trades isn't enough to know if a strategy works. 50 trades isn't enough. Even 100 trades is just barely starting to show you something real. But you never get there because you quit at trade 20 and start over with something new. You're not failing because strategies don't work. You're failing because you never give any strategy a real chance. Because if you test it for 500 trades, maybe the strategy you thought wasn't the most profitable is the one that will make you the most money. You can learn this, but you're not doing it by testing short-term and giving up. And here's the part that destroys traders. Every strategy has losing streaks. Even the best setups in the world lose 40% of the time. Some lose 50% and are still wildly profitable because of how they manage risk and reward. But when you're only 20 trades into learning a setup, you don't know what a normal losing streak looks like for that setup. You hit 5 losses in a row and you panic. You think it's broken. It's not broken. You just hit variance, normal variance that every strategy goes through. But you don't know that because you haven't traded it long enough. So you abandon it right when you're about to break through. You switch to something new. The same thing happens again. You abandon that too. And you stay stuck in an endless loop of starting over. I have bad news for you. The supernatural answers you're looking for don't exist. There are simpler solutions than you expect, and they work. You just need to give them enough time and allow your strategies to realize themselves. This isn't something that happens with 20 setups, 50 setups, or even 100 setups. So judging a strategy as inadequate early on might mean you're throwing away a very good strategy. Don't make this mistake. If you believe a strategy is right for you, you need to give it enough of a chance. At first, it might not feel as clear as you want. It might seem insufficient. But if it's right for you, keep going. Because along the way, you can make that strategy better and reach much higher win rates. But to do this, you first need to try that strategy for a long time so you can observe its strengths and weaknesses. You should focus on strategies you find yourself rather than others' strategies. This might sound illogical, but trust me, it can be better for your process. Professional traders don't do this. They pick one setup, they commit to it. They trade it in winning streaks and losing streaks. They trade it in different market conditions. They don't abandon strategies they know from backtests just because they showed poor results in 20 setups. Because they have data. They learn when it works and when it doesn't. They develop a feel you can't get from 20 trades. And that feel is what makes them profitable. They master executing a strategy, and over time, the market becomes a more comfortable place for them, because they know their strategy inside out. And the familiarity and comfort that comes from always applying the same strategy gives them an advantage. It makes staying committed to their system easier. Being more disciplined becomes inevitable. They become less stressed because something familiar that you've executed thousands of times is like a reflex for you. Your strategy becomes almost like a limb of your body. But on the other hand, most people try new strategies constantly without thinking about any of this, and delusionally think they can succeed at all of them. This is not realistic. You're trying to be good at everything. They're trying to be elite at one thing. You're a generalist, they're a specialist. And in trading, specialists win. Generalists stay stuck. But it's not just strategy hopping. There's something deeper keeping you trapped. You're addicted to learning. You think the answer is always in the next video, the next book, the next course. So you keep consuming. You're spending hours every day watching content. You've got 15 tabs open. You're in 3 Discord servers. You're following 20 traders on social media. You're drowning in information, and you think this is progress. You think you're getting better. You're not. You're procrastinating. This is normal when you first start trading because you don't know almost anything yet. But you should have a maximum of 1 year to finish this phase. Because when you're actually at the learning stage, you're avoiding the one thing that would actually make you profitable, executing the same setup over and over until you master it. That's not exciting. That's not new. So you don't do it. Instead, you watch another video about a slightly different way to draw trend lines. You're trapped in permanent learning mode, always consuming, never mastering. You know a little about everything, and that doesn't make you money. The reason underlying your constant desire to learn is that you're getting rewarded for it. It makes you feel productive. Not just that, you also deep down believe you can find a strategy that almost guarantees you'll be profitable. And that's why 50 to 60% win rates don't appeal to you. Yet a fortune can be built with a 50 to 60% win rate. But you don't believe it. You want 80%. And you keep searching and chasing new strategies. And none of them meet your expectations because, frankly, your expectations are a delusion. Look, you can do this for 1 year, but if you've left your first year behind and you're still at this stage, listen to me and please stop. Because I made the same mistakes too. I did this for 2 years. I had notebooks full of strategies. I had folders with dozens of trading plans. I could explain indicators. I knew all the terminology. I sounded smart when I talked about trading, and I was losing money every month. Because knowing things and being able to execute under pressure are completely different. I had knowledge. I didn't have skill. The market doesn't pay you for knowledge. It pays you for skill. And skill only comes one way. Repetition. One setup traded over and over, through good conditions and bad conditions, through wins and losses, until it becomes second nature, until you can feel when it's right and when it's not. This intuition can't be taught. It can only be earned. And you earn it through screen time, through execution, through commitment. But most traders never commit. They keep one foot out the door, ready to jump to the next thing as soon as it gets hard. And that guarantees failure. Think about anything else you've ever gotten good at. You didn't get good by trying 20 different approaches for a week each. You picked one way. You went deep. You practiced until it became automatic. You stuck with it through frustration. You pushed through the plateau. Trading is no different, but traders treat it like it is. They think they can get good by dabbling, by sampling, by trying a little of this and a little of that. You can't. Don't listen to those who sell you dreams. Being profitable is easier than you think. What makes it difficult is your patience and your weakness in staying committed to one thing. And if you internalize the right perspective, this can easily change. Make a promise to yourself and stay committed to your strategy for a long time, accepting that it's not perfect. If you're not profitable yet, this is the best thing you can do for yourself. Of course, don't forget to backtest your strategy, because the only thing that makes a strategy valuable is data. Here's the shift that changed everything for me. I picked one setup, a simple breakout with momentum confirmation. Nothing fancy, nothing secret, just a pattern that's been around forever. I'm sure my strategy seems funny and outdated to you, like a total boomer setup, right? Considering what's circulating on trading Twitter these days. But trust me, if you saw the money I've made with it, your opinion would easily change. When I started applying this pattern, I made a deal with myself. 6 months, one setup, no switching. Even if I lost money. Even if it felt boring. Even if I saw other opportunities. 6 months. One setup. That was the commitment. The first month was brutal. I lost money. I wanted to quit. I wanted to try something else. Every part of me screamed to switch. But I had made a commitment, so I stayed. Month 2, I hit break even. Month 3, small profit. Month 4, better. By month 6, I was consistently profitable. With a small criteria change, my win rate went from around 50% to around 60%. And after that, my entire trading life completely changed. Because I had given my strategy a chance and learned so much about it. Not because the setup magically started working, but because I finally understood it. I knew when to take it and when to pass. I knew what made it high probability and what made it weak. I had developed real skill. The decision to commit changed everything. And here's what's wild. The setup I chose wasn't special. It was basic. The magic wasn't in the setup. The magic was in the commitment to master it. I fulfilled this commitment and was rewarded for it. That's exactly what happened. This point became a turning point in my trading career. I'm still continuing my career profitably thanks to this setup. This is what you're missing. You keep looking for the magic strategy. There isn't one. Any setup can work if you master it. The question is, are you willing to commit long enough to make it work? Most traders aren't. They want results without commitment. They want to be profitable without going through the boring, frustrating process of mastering one thing. And that's why they stay stuck forever. If you want to escape the beginner phase, you need to make a decision right now. Pick one setup, not 3, not 5. 1. Commit to trading only that setup for the next 6 months. Don't switch. Don't add new setups. Don't get distracted by what you see on social media. Just trade your one setup, over and over and over. Track every trade. Journal every trade. Review every trade. Don't evaluate if it's working until you hit 100 trades minimum. Don't change the rules until you hit 100 trades. Just execute. Build the skill. Develop the pattern recognition. Learn the nuances. Become elite at one thing. Our era makes focusing difficult, that's true. That's exactly why most traders can't stay committed to a single strategy. That's also why most traders aren't profitable. If you're not either, you now know the answer you've been looking for. Please don't just listen to this and move on. Apply it. And let it be a turning point for your trading career. I pray for all of you. I know it's not easy. I know the people around you don't understand you. I know the stress and mental burden. We've walked the same paths. I have no doubt you'll succeed. Just stay committed to one strategy and elevate it. Here's what's going to happen. The first few weeks will feel exciting. Then it's going to get boring. Really boring. You're going to see the same setup over and over. You're going to want something new. Then you're going to hit a losing streak and you're going to want to quit. You're going to see other traders posting wins with different strategies. You're going to feel FOMO. You're going to question everything. This is where most traders break. This is where they go back to exploration mode. This is where they stay stuck forever. Don't do that. Push through. Keep trading your setup. The boredom is actually a good sign. It means you're doing the work. The losing streak is teaching you what doesn't work. The FOMO is just your brain trying to keep you comfortable. Ignore all of it. Stay committed. By month 3, you'll start noticing things. You'll see your setup forming before it's obvious to others. You'll know which ones to take and which ones to skip. You'll feel a difference. By month 6, you'll be a different trader. Not because you know more, but because you've developed real skill, and skill is what separates beginners from professionals. The shift isn't from learning to knowing more. The shift is from learning to doing, from consuming to executing, from theory to practice. Most traders never make that shift. They stay in learning mode because it feels safe, it feels productive, and it's not scary. Doing is scary. Losing real money is scary. Committing to something that might not work is scary. So they hide in learning mode. They tell themselves they're not ready yet. They need just a little more information. They're lying to themselves. You're ready right now. You already know enough. You know what a trend is. You know support and resistance. You know how to set a stop loss. You know position sizing. That's enough. Everything else is just noise. You don't need more information. You need more execution. Pick your setup. Write down the exact rules. Make it so clear a beginner could follow it. Entry criteria, exit criteria, risk management, everything. Then trade only that setup for 100 trades minimum. Track it, journal it, review it. Don't change anything until you hit 100. This is how you escape the beginner phase. Not by learning more, by committing to one thing and going deep. By building real skill instead of collecting information. By becoming a specialist instead of staying a generalist forever. When you do this, something shifts. You stop feeling like a beginner. You stop second-guessing. You stop looking for the next strategy. You become confident in your setup. You know what you're doing. You trust your process. And that confidence shows up in your results. The market rewards mastery. It punishes dabbling. You've been dabbling. It's time to commit. 6 months. One setup. That's all it takes. If you're still reading, you're in the small percentage of traders who actually want to make it. But no video is going to make you profitable. You have to commit. You have to do the work. You have to stop hitting the reset button and start building real skill. The choice is simple. Stay stuck in exploration mode forever, or commit to one thing and finally escape. The beginner phase isn't about knowledge, it's about commitment. And commitment is a choice you make right now.